Good evening and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bluddworth, and as you can see by the graphics, tonight's video is Crimson Escalation. So this was a Kickstarter run by Venger Satanis, and it was a $1 Kickstarter, so you really couldn't you really couldn't go wrong with that. And what it is it's a critical hit system that takes up about 8 pages, so it's not some little blurb out there. It's a pretty well developed and well thought out system, along with a couple extras on there. There's like an extra page or two, and I'll go over that as well. So really excited to get this in its own separate form. That way I could print it out and take a look at it and actually use it, because it is a system agnostic critical hit system, which means that you can use it in any RPG game that you wish. Wanted to just get a separate copy of it so that I can just easily transport it to whatever I'm playing around with, and certainly want to see how it works in various systems. So without further ado, let's go over to, we'll go to the big screen first. So I did print it out, and one thing I will warn you is that it is very ink intensive. So when you are running double-sided, which I was doing here, and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, you can see the graphics here because it is double. I printed it double-sided, and it is very, very ink intensive. By the time I got to, I guess this would be pages 5 and 6, it actually hung up and separated page 6. Now I wanted to do this separately anyway, but I'll just have to use a little bit heavier weight paper, and then just not run them back to back like I had done. So this was the expansion, the 10 Commandments of Immersion, which actually came out nice. And then this is the final page, page 8. All right, so 8 pages in total. Well, let's get into the system itself. So this is on DriveThruRPG, a PDF form, and we will get right into it. Faster Pussycat Crit Crit. Combat exploration and role-playing, and 3 proverbial pillars of role-playing games. What kind of lopsided structure do we have if the combat pillar is absurdly longer than the others? And so basically what this system is, because I'm not going to read through the whole thing, is it's a way to make combat run a lot faster, a lot more brutal, and you could decide for yourself if you want to use this, with just the PCs towards NPCs, or if you want to give this kind of power to your NPCs. Although I probably wouldn't recommend it. It's it's a system that takes the normal critical hit that you would normally get with rolling a natural 20, and each successive round it becomes easier and easier to score a critical hit. So let me show you what it's actually doing. Beautiful artwork. So forget the Alamo, remember the Cantina, and this is a scene from one of his playtests. I'm fairly certain, one that I kind of barely missed when I was in it. He had a Cantina that he did on his Chalt after dark playtests, and so he's very fond with running cantinas, and I'm pretty sure the Cantina was a lot of fun for it. But let's go and start taking a look at the system itself. So Crimson Escalation is a progressive critical hit range that grows incrementally wider each round. This goes for both adventuring party and their opponents, monsters and NPCs. So if you do want to use it for both, it certainly makes the system much, much more critical. Critical hits have do two benefits. First, you automatically hit whenever it is you're attacking. Second, whatever damage is normally rolled, double that amount. For example, 1d8 becomes 2d8, and so on and so on. On round one, everyone has a natural 20 crit range. On round two, everyone's crits, if they roll a 19 or a 20. Round three widens the crit range to 18 to 20, and so on. So it keeps on going and going. Now, nevertheless, rolling a natural 20, even when it is a much wider range, the player characters only, not monsters, NPCs, or even hirelings, can choose one of the following perks in addition to the critical hit. You can perform a stunned epic deed or special maneuver. You immediately get an extra attack with advantage. An advantage, in case you're not aware of, you roll 2d20 and you take the best of the two rolls. Instead of rolling damage dice twice, you roll them 3 times. All right, so you can do basically triple damage. So it's your choice, one of the 3. I would tend to want to do the extra attack because that can once again critical. And so you kind of compile the action. If you want to use your own critical hit table in conjunction with Crimson Escalation, go right ahead. Those characters who naturally have a wider crit range have a superior edge over everyone else. If they normally crit on a 19 or 20, that character will always crit 1 point better during the escalation. So that's a pretty easy way to figure it out. There is a visual aid, and so you can print this out. Like I said, it's very ink heavy. You can also make your own little chart. So first round is a 20. Second round is a 19 or 20. Third round is 18 to 20. Fourth round is 17 to 20, then 16, then 15, then 14, then 13, then 12 to 20, then 11 to 20, and finally from 10 to 20, basically 50-50 odds of a critical hit, and then you reset back to round 1 once again. So as you can see, it progressively becomes easier and easier to hit a crit. And you can imagine if both sides are using the same crit table, battles are going to become very, very fast. Now, this was an add-on from the Kickstarter. It was a stretch goal. And so the 10 Commandments of Immersion is also included. Somebody's watching me. Who or what is lurking around the corner, alley, or sand dune? Is someone spying on the PCs, minding their own business, wondering if they should engage the PCs in combat or friendly banter? The options are endless. So it's just kind of creating that sense of, the player characters are being watched, and you can try to make them a little bit nervous about that kind of a thing. And sow that seed of discomfort. All full circle, something that has happened at the start of the session should be mirrored at the end. Concerns, questions, music, colors, shapes, tattoos, conflicts, coins, relationships, and so on and so on. Who's thirsty? Periodically inquire about the PC's desire for or aversion to or interest in food, drink, peace, and quiet, restlessness, inquisitive minds, physical ailments, mental acuity, and so on and so on. So basically, just try to make the sense that their player character is someone that has the same wants and needs and emotions that that a real person does. So I've often mentioned that in in my games, or just in general conversation about role playing games, it's like, when does your character use the bathroom? You know, when did they take a pee in the woods? When they, you know, what do they wipe their butt with in the woods? You know, so it's something that every once in a while it's good to make the players think that, you know, this is actually a real world and a real character, and they, you know, they kind of simulate that kind of thing. Gwyneth Paltrow's head in a box. Think of a random word, phrase, or idea that strikes your fancy. Maybe it's something you read this morning, a piece of conversation overheard last night, or a strange movie you saw a decade ago. Whatever comes into your mind, find a way to include that into the scenario as soon as possible. That will make the world feel more spontaneous and alive for both you and your players. Uh, Very true story here. One time I'm walking out of my the school building in which I work, and this this guy is standing in the street, like just off the curb, and all of a sudden he starts just dancing, and obviously he's a homeless guy, and obviously either like mentally or drug addled or whatever, but he was having a really good time. He was entertaining. I gave him $1, and that's that kind of thing where you have like a random, such a random thing occurs, and if you present your characters with that kind of a thing, they will, they'll probably have a lot of fun with it as well. It makes the world feel alive. Lord of the Trolls occasionally troll your players. I love this one. So, nothing says God is present like intentionally instigating conflict, hostility, or annoyance. Make fun of them in the story through the adventure using NPCs, looted items, or various clues. Ridicule their self seriousness with 1 part whimsy and 3 parts fuck you. These tease the PCs, disrupt their perception of reality, and so on. So, I mean, just mess with your players. One of the things I like to do is I like to roll the dice behind the screen so that the players can hear that I'm rolling dice. I've actually had players, he's rolling dice. It always makes them nervous. It's a lot of fun. Keep it secret, keep it safe. Keeping secrets from the players, especially when the players are dealing with an NPC that they know is not being forthright with them, and it really, really does bother. I just had this in my campaign in the last night's session, and the player's like, I don't really trust this guy. He's keeping secrets, or his story isn't exactly panning out, and so that's going to fester with them for a little while, and I'm really glad for it. Why we fight, remind them that there are practical reasons why the PC's adventure, and so on. So, and that's something that I like to know about the player characters in my group. And I've asked them all, what is the one motivation that brought you to an adventuring life? So very important here. Why we really fight, I just did that, didn't I? Oh, there's also a primordial reason why the PC's adventures fighters need magical weapons, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Zeitgeist, world events should be happening, shaping the campaign, revolution, reformation, rebellion, and so on. So once again, making the world feel real. I want to believe, forge a spiritual connection to something. All right, and these are all the 10 commandments of immersion. So, as you can see there, for $1, you're getting quite a bit of good advice, and a system that's really really looks like it's going to be a lot of fun playing around with that. Now, again, this is system agnostic. The time that I used this, or at least I believe it was being used, was when we were playing Crimson Dragon Slayer, and in the Chalt setting. So that's why I put those two graphics up there. This is certainly where I would use them in Crimson Dragon Slayer as the game system, Chalt as the setting, because I think it really works and fits both that setting and that game system very well. And once again, another great Kickstarter from Venger Satanis. I have his Chalt books behind me, waiting for the third one, which I think he said is going to hit Kickstarter very soon, if not next month. Maybe it was October, or possibly within the next 3 months for sure. It's going to hit, and I'm certainly looking forward to backing that. That will be the third hardcover in the Chalt trilogy, and I know I've shown these before, but I will just grab the most recent to show it off. And so this is Chalt Fuchsia Malaise, and I mean this is a massive book, and just the quality of it is amazing, and so you really can't go wrong backing his stuff. As far as as far as Kickstarters are concerned, I've never been disappointed. So if you just want to test it out and see something, pick up a Crimson Escalation. It's probably on drive-through. It was only $1. It is attached to Crimson Dragon Slayer, so you can always pick it up there. I don't know if the 11 points of, or 10 points of immersion are in all of the versions that you can get Crimson Escalation, if it is attached to other games of his, but you can certainly get it when it's packed in here. So I hope you like this video. Thanks for joining in. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Can't talk right. I had such a long day. And once again, keep on gaming. I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime soon. I am still running my AD&D First Edition game. Now, I'm running that kind of raw, so I don't know if I'm going to spring Crimson Escalation on my players just yet in that system, but maybe in another one-shot or something, I will almost definitely use it in a one-shot. And again, thanks for joining. Have a great evening, and stay safe out there and keep on gaming. Have a good one.